Good morning. Welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. I'm currently the chair, Christy Oakham. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Sean Flowerday. To my far right, Commissioner Roma Amundson. To my left is Commissioner Rick Vest, and to my far left is Commissioner Matt Schulte. Please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, you may begin.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing for the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Commissioners, that brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on August 8th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2, claims. Approval of the claims process through August 15th, 2023. And I'll note we have an amendment for the payroll.
Okay. I move approval of the claims process through August 15th, 2023 to include the payroll disbursements through August 9th of 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the payroll through August 9th. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is a special presentation, the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for June 2023 to Colleen Lawson, Corrections, in the category of Safety. And Commissioners, I will go ahead and read Colleen's nomination letter.
Thank you.
Colleen Lawson, Correctional Officer with the Lancaster County Department of Corrections, has been selected as the Commissioner's Award of Excellence winner for June 2023. Lawson worked for the Lancaster County for 3 years. She was nominated by Sergeant Bill Garaki in the category of Safety. In his nomination, Sergeant Garaki states, Officer Colleen Lawson witnessed a medical emergency involving an inmate choking on food during their lunch meal and called for additional help via her radio. Officer Lawson saw the inmate was not able to get good airflow and began to panic. Officer Lawson asked the inmate if she could help by performing an abdominal thrust, and the inmate nodded yes. Officer Lawson performed 3 abdominal thrusts on the inmate, which dislodged the food and allowed the inmate to breathe normally. Officer Lawson completed this task swiftly, calmly, and without hesitation, according to her training, thereby keeping the individuals she is tasked to care for safe. The actions taken by Officer Lawson stopped a more serious medical incident from occurring. For these reasons, we are pleased to award Officer Lawson the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for the month of June 2023.
All right.
Thank you.
Good morning. Brad Johnson, Director for Lancaster County Department of Corrections. So we're here to recognize Officer Clausen and her actions on that afternoon. You know, the write-up really speaks for itself. I don't know what to add other than, you know, we have the right people at the right place. So she's a fine officer, and we're blessed to have her as part of our team and taking care of our folks that are placed in our custody. So congratulations, well earned.
Thank you.
Mr. Lawson, I'm Commissioner Rick Vest. So thank you so much for being here this morning. Your reward for performing your duties heroically is to come down and stand in front of all of us. But it is my honor on behalf of the board to present you with this award based on the services that we've heard documented this morning. It's a real tribute to you and the preparation that you've been given, that you responded so well in a dramatic set of circumstances that you didn't know was coming. It wasn't scheduled. It just suddenly was before you, And yeah, you responded very professionally and in a way that was very helpful to the individual involved. On behalf of all of us, thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to the board, Sergeant Gracky, the department.
Come on up to the mic so they can hear you.
I appreciate this. Our ongoing training makes it so we don't even have to second guess. We just react. So I was simply doing my job.
Clearly, you paid attention in training and you were prepared, and I appreciate that. I mean, this is something that many of us have been trained in, and hope we never have to use it, but good tool to have, and thank you very much for jumping right into action there.
Very good. Thank you.
Your readiness and professionalism
Yeah.
are a testament to the county and the community at large. So thank you so much for what you've done. I mean, these people are, you know, when they're placed into our custody, they're also placed into our care. We have to protect them as much as we have to keep them under control. And so, thank you very much for your service.
Yeah, I would say this is just a great reminder too of how you guys are keeping our community safe, but you're also keeping the people who are with you safe. And so just a great opportunity for you to step up and do that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of the others who came out to support you.
I try to always say it every time, but I love how much the Department of Corrections always comes out to support one another anytime we have one of these or anytime someone's being honored. So thank you all.
We may proceed with the agenda.
Next item is item 4, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. An individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts. C-18-0051 with Rochester Armored Car for Armored Car Services. 2, C-20-0142 with Orkin LLC for Annual Pest Control Services. B, grant contracts funded by the Nebraska Commission on Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice Community-Based Juvenile Services Aid Grant for July 21-23 through June 30th, 2024 with the following. Centerpoint for the Diversion Evaluation Program in the amount of $6,097. Lighthouse Incorporated for the StrengthsFinder Program in the amount of $39,851. Right-of-way contracts with the following. Everett F. Hotwalker Living Trust, South 120th Street, Old Cheney Road, in the amount of $373. Roy L. and Judith A. Hansmeyer, West Pella Road and Southwest 58th Street, in the amount of $271. Larry C. and Gloria M. Edgar Life Estates, Princeton Road and South 120th Street, in the amount of $1,855. Doshot Family Farms Limited Partnership, Princeton Road and South 120th Street, in the amount of $3,039. Ryan Knapp Revocable Trust and Amanda Knapp Revocable Trust, South 120th Street, Old Cheney Road to Pioneers Boulevard, in the amount of $21,705. D, change order number 2 to contract C-230089 with Bauer Underground Incorporated to extend the substantial completion date to August 16th, 2023, and contract completion date to September 15th, 2023. E, setting a public hearing for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding applications for Class YK liquor license for Ball Vineyard and Estates LLC, doing business as Capitol View Winery and Vineyards, 2361 Whitstruck Road in Roca, and a corporate manager's liquor license for Desiree Ball. F, setting a public hearing for Tuesday, August 29th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding text amendment 23010 to amend the Lancaster County zoning resolution to allow a farm winery social hall and allow the sale of spirits at farm wineries. And G, setting a public hearing on Tuesday, August 29th, 2023, immediately following the 9 a.m. Board of Commissioners meeting in room 112 of the County City Building regarding Lancaster County's proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-24.
Move approval of the consent items.
Do we have a second? Oh, excuse me.
Second, but
It appears that there is a grant contract for which one of the commissioners has a conflict. I would ask that you remove item B2 from the consent agenda and approve the other items, and then consider item B2 for Lighthouse separately.
Do I
Thank you.
need to amend my motion?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I will amend the motion to approve all of the consent items with the exception of B2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items with the exception of item B2, Lighthouse Strength Fighters Program grant.
I just have one comment on the, before we vote, if that's all right. I just noticed that D is, I noticed this yesterday, an extension of the Bauer underground contract. We just extended this contract like 40 days ago, and this company has another big contract for 3 more quadrants. I hope this company will speed things up and get this project done on time.
Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Do we have a motion then on item B2?
I'll move B2 approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve item B2 on the agenda. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Abstain.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Item 5 is the public hearing for a vacation of certain portions of right-of-way near the intersection of West Spruce Street and Southwest 112th Street, Crete, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
We will now open the public hearing regarding the vacation of certain portions of the right-of-way near the intersection of West Pruka and Southwest 112th. Do we have staff to speak to this?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
John Berry, Lancaster County Engineering, 444 Cherry Creek Road. This was an application to vacate a couple of streets and an alleyway in Kramer. This was brought forward by petition. It was all verified and all those kind of things. So I'll wait for this being Southwest 112th Street, 4th Street, and 3rd Street down here, and half of an alleyway in that way. Going back to look at some of the aerials that I've had, it would appear that the street and alley we haven't been paved since the 60s at the very least. Those are the ones I have. First picture I have shows Southwest 112th Street. I'll go that way. The center of the street is approximately where this tree line is. So it's obviously there's not been a road there for a long, long time. Looking down the alleyway to the west, there's a building. That again, when I looked at the old aerial maps, that building has been there since probably the 60s. So again, that hasn't been opened. One of the issues with possibly leaving the alleyway, not vacating the alleyway, is besides the building and the number of trees that would have to be removed, as you can tell, there's a creek through here, which may or may not require some kind of a drainage structure. That making that alleyway, if we opened it, could be extremely expensive. So at this time, we're recommending that the alleyway be vacated and the street be vacated. However, the street up here, which is 4th Street, not to be vacated. Allowing, if this would ever be developed, these lots, they would have access. If we vacated that street, those lots would become useless. I would, however, recommend, because of this alleyway still being open, that we retain a 20-foot utility and access easement along the west side of Lot 6. That would allow power lines, any utilities to be brought up that side and also then to access that alley. So at this time, we're recommending that we vacate the alley, we vacate Southwest 112th Street, we do not vacate 4th Street up on the north end, and we retain an easement 20-foot wide along the west side of 6th Street.
And you said this came forward by petition.
By
Would you
petition,
explain
correct,
that,
by
please?
Mr. Whittick, who owns this lot here, who owns this half.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak on this issue this morning? Please come forward if you wish to speak on this. Thank you.
I'm just the one that, Mark Wydick.
Yeah, if you'll introduce yourself and write your name on the sheet there, and then you'll need to swear in to speak.
Okay.
I just said a lot of steps there, but that's what it takes to get to the hearing. Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm the one that,
You'll just tell us your story and why you want this done?
oh, we're thinking about putting up a outbuilding out right on that area. 40 by 40, if everything gets approved to do so. But that's it.
And any of the neighbors in that vicinity, have you talked with them?
Oh, yeah,
And they're
yeah, I talked to him, had him sign the
they're all on the petition?
papers. To all adjoining lots.
Great.
Yeah.
How long have you owned this property?
I've had it for about 23 years.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
And I believe we have someone here from planning to speak. Good morning.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
Steve Hendrickson with the Lincoln Lancaster County Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. Put up another little exhibit here. We have two that perhaps can help explain the circumstances a little more clearly. Wait for it to show up here. Oh, there we go. So the petition area with the property up here is to the north. In orange is the area that is being requested. And the challenge that is created legally is that you actually have all these platted lots. Now, if you go out there today, they're not used as individual lots, and as John Barry pointed out, the alleys and the streets haven't been used for decades either. So we acknowledge there's no particular public purpose. But the challenge is if you vacate all of this right away in orange, these three lots then effectively have no frontage. And so you've created three lots that really aren't legal lots anymore. And while it's a very rare circumstance, we have had circumstances where people bought lots. Let's say we vacate this and 10, 15 years pass. This transfers a couple of hands from different people, and suddenly there's three lots and they come in for a building permit only to discover they can't get a building permit. They bought these three lots, but now they have no frontage, so legally they can't get a building permit. The same thing would happen with the lots in green. They would actually have frontage on a street that you can't get to because this right-of-way is not being requested to be vacated, but there is no public right-of-way leading to that right-of-way. And so technically, if something fell down or needed to be maintained in here, you could call the county engineer and say, I need this fixed, but there isn't legal right-of-way to get to that. Now, you could try to work some kind of an access easement or something out perhaps, but these lots end up with a circumstance where they have frontage, but they have no way of getting to it. You also, by vacating all this area in orange, create an alleyway that has no way to get to it either. So you could either revise the application, and not only then do you need to, you would vacate more properties, but what we have done in other vacations is have them do a final plat where they final plat, like for instance, this property that is owned by Adams, they turn in the petitions to vacate the additional right-of-way. They also turn in a final plat with us. It's called like a consolidation final plat. You consolidate all the lots into one, and that one lot would then have frontage down here on West Prussia. And you could do the same thing over here with Mr. Whittick's property. If you wanted to vacate this alleyway as well, you could make this one big lot, or if you just wanted to have this part, you could have one lot that encompassed these 6 lots and the vacated right-of-way. And that's what we've done in other circumstances. Union College recently did this, where they acquired some additional properties, wanted to use it as one property with one building on it, and they just did a consolidation final plat to consolidate all the lots and vacated right-of-way into one. If there's no interest in working on the bigger picture and doing final plats, which definitely would have additional cost, then what we would recommend, and I'm sorry if this is a little hard, is to not include the part up here that is shown on maps as West Meineke. John Barry referred to it as Fourth, but we also recommend not to include this right away. And then we would also leave out the alley as well. So that way this alley over here you can get to because this has not been vacated. But these two streets are Southwest 12th, could be, and that way I'm assuming that Mr. Whittick and Adams are splitting the property, then they could use that vacated right away. None of the lots would be without frontage, and you could still access all of the lots and access all of the alleyway. So we kind of see it as two possibilities.
I'm turned around here though, but because there is no alleyway right now. I mean, there's a building built on the alleyway.
You're correct. This east-west alleyway is on paper, and by not vacating it, it would still remain on paper. They'd still probably walk and drive across it like it wasn't there. But that way you wouldn't, otherwise if you vacate, as we noted in this example, if you vacate this part of the alley but not the rest of it, then you have a public alleyway that you can't reach via public right-of-way.
Would you walk me through vacating the alley totally again? That
Sure,
would
so
give,
if you vacated the alley totally, you could either go all the way over to the west end and vacate the entire thing, or at the very least add this property, and that way Adams would now have ownership of the lots on the north and the south and the alley in between it. So you could add just this alleyway, subtracting out all this right away up on the north, and that would then be also acceptable because all of the lots would still have frontage on a street that you can reach. The alleyways being vacated, as well as Southwest 12th, would allow them to consolidate the Whittick property this way and the Adams property this way, and you leave this right away here. The last part I was also going to note is there is another property to the north that technically fronts on this. They have frontage on other property, but let's say someday somebody wants to do additional lots in Kramer and figures out how to do the water and the sewer, those lots would actually take access to this street.
And where does the gentleman want to build his outbuilding on this?
I'd have to ask him to come back into, he didn't specifically, I didn't catch where he said he wished to build it.
would you please point out to us where you want to build your outbuilding?
Like if we just vacated the alleyway and the street in between, but not the, what is that, on?
The
Meineke.
West Meineke
West
or
Meineke.
Well, it'd be
Fourth?
Oh, if you can point here, that helped them.
It'd be along this area here.
So it wouldn't mess you up if we didn't vacate that part of West Meineke?
No, I was just gonna do that because
Sure.
I'm doing this now.
Sure.
Sure. So if this was left out and this was left out, you could put the building over in here, or you could put a building in here.
Yeah, that's the main one that actually I was wanting.
Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah. So it looks like this reduction would still allow him to complete what he'd like to do. And then later he and his neighbor Adams could come back, and if you wanted to vacate everything in the orange and the red in the future, that would be a possibility for the future as well then. But you could go with something like this, and we could work with the county attorney and John Barry to adjust the area of the vacation, but I would still vacate these two properties then,
That's-
or two streets, excuse me.
I'm seeing a thumbs up from the
But there won't be no issues with, you say that's gonna be left open?
This part would still technically be a public alleyway. Of course, you'd be able to drive back and forth across it.
But
Yeah, because my house is right there.
Right, right, right. But what we're suggesting is in the future, you just vacate all of it instead of just a little piece of it.
Yeah, I'm sure, Tyler,
Right.
who
so-
owns that wall?
Right, so if you could work with him to add this in to it, but we'd be subtracting this part up here.
Yeah, we probably won't even mess with that because,
Okay,
this is what like I said, was interested in getting.
the main part of it, and that would be this part here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Essentially, the alley works as it is for you.
Yeah, I get, it's my yard.
Right, right.
Yes.
Like, the alley's only on paper. The reality is
Correct.
there's no alley.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Same way with that Mike Street.
Yes, yeah, I
But
acknowledge
like
that.
you said, in the future, if somebody did something.
You could come back and get the whole thing vacated. But we'd also then need, if we do this street, then we also need to plat these into one big lot, and that would require a surveyor and a little more cost to that.
Now, mine's already one big lot, right? I mean, it's shows 6 lots, but it's all mine.
Today, you're right, you own these 6 and you own these 6.
Yeah.
And with the vacation, then you could then acquire, are you splitting the property with Mr. Adams?
Yeah, he rents the house.
But when it's
that's on-
vacated, is the entire right-of-way gonna go to you to own, or are you gonna split it 50-50?
It'd probably go to me because it's a tree line, basically.
Okay, so then you would own the entire part of it then. So you'd own these 6 lots, and then you'd own these 2 areas in red.
Yep.
Okay?
So this leaves us with just vacating Southwest Ninth, correct?
The southwest 112th and here,
112,
yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know
Yep.
where I got that
And we
number.
would leave the alley for the moment.
Right,
A later petition could come back in and clean that up.
and that's satisfactory for what you want to do?
Yeah, I just have to get Stellick or Adams. It's actually Tyler Stellick owns it.
Oh, okay,
I would just have to get him to
yes.
go in with me to,
Go in with you, and then that way
Totally.
you, and you might want to even include this part of it and just do the whole alley, the entire length.
Let's take it all out.
yeah, because that's Roger Johnson's. That's who used to own my property.
Yes, because since you own these 6 lots and these 6 lots, you could actually request to also vacate this part of the alley too.
Have one big block with no breaks.
Right. So you could do that whole alleyway. So you would just work with him to revise or submit a new petition for that.
Yeah, because his cows would appreciate not having that road there.
Sure, sure. Okay,
Yep, that sounds good.
okay.
Great.
This sounds like,
Just to clarify, this is just a hearing, we're not actually taking action on this right now, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Schulte, that's correct. John Ward with the County Attorney's Office. The resolution will be next week, and I was also going to come up and ask, based on the discussion here, if the board were to vacate Southwest 112th or Silver Street north to south, I would ask John Berry with engineering if he still would desire that utility access easement at this point. No, and he's shaking his head no. And I thought that,
Yeah, he's,
and I thought that might be appropriate in the event of a future. Okay.
we have someone else coming to speak here, County Engineer Pam Dingman. Mr. Clerk, does she need to swear in?
Lancaster County Engineer Pam Dingman, sorry, I had to navigate by the dog.
Pam,
You need to swear in, yeah.
John, I'll
Thank
swear you in too, I suppose. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do also. Okay, so we need to remember that vacations are very complex in nature. So because we vacate the road does not mean that any of the utilities have been vacated. So if there does happen to be, and that gets to be complex because people think, oh, I just come in and vacate the road. And what they don't often realize is you still have to individually go and vacate utility easements because they are implied if any of them exist there, whether that be power or phone lines or sewer water, whatever it is. And so we just want to be very careful that, hey, at Lancaster County Engineering Department, hey, we would just like to get a few less roads on our inventory, right? We're not vacating utility easements. So I just want to
Yeah,
make sure we're
right.
very clear on
Nope.
that.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this issue? We will now close the public hearing. We can proceed with new business.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 6A, proclaiming August 15th, 2023 as Barney Day. And I have a copy of the proclamation that I can read. Whereas on this day, Barney, Lancaster County's possum therapy dog, turns 2 years old, And whereas this charming therapy dog has faithfully served his duty by offering solace, joy, and unwavering support to citizens and employees alike. Whereas Barney, the furball extraordinaire, has successfully mastered the art of puppy dog eyes, leaving no heart unmelted and no treat jar unemptied. And whereas this four-legged wonder has single-podedly elevated the county's happiness index, providing that all you need is a wagging tail and a little belly rubbing to achieve world peace. And whereas on this momentous occasion, we gather to celebrate not any ordinary dog, but a hero whose mission is to unleash happiness wherever his paws may tread. Now therefore, the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska hereby proclaim August 15th, 2023 as Barney Day.
Good morning, Sarah Hoyle. I'm the Director of Human Services for the City of Lincoln and Lancaster County. And I would ask Barney's handlers to come up and join me, as well as Barney's dad, Leslie's husband, who he lives with, Carla and Sage, yes. So Barney, the county city facility dog, has a number of handlers. Miss Aarons is the primary one, but we also have Carla with the county attorney's office and Sage with the county board's office, and then we have another handler with the police department who is not here. The primary purpose of having Barney in our office was to not only help the youth that we serve on juvenile diversion, which he does an amazing job at calming them down, helping us get interviews, information from them, but he also helps in the county attorney's office with depositions of children who have been survivors of horrendous crime. He also helps with the police department with survivors of crime there when they need to get them interviewed. And then, of course, with the board's office. But one thing that we weren't anticipating with Barney is that the public loves Barney. When people come in and pay taxes, they will stop and look for Barney. Sometimes they'll wander back looking for him to our office. And the other thing is staff. Leslie gets a number of requests to go to different departments when staff are having maybe not so great days, which doesn't happen often in the county, but sometimes, and they will request Barney then to come to the department. So we wanted to give everybody an opportunity to see Barney and to recognize Barney. So that's why we asked for this proclamation. And then immediately following this in 303, the city and the county, all employees are welcome to come and interact with Barney and celebrate his birthday. So thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much for running down many of the places that Barney does interact with the public and with the staff, because I only see him when he's in our office, and I'm not really aware of all of the places that Barney goes throughout the day.
I like the idea of having an emotional support animal in the treasurer's office.
Well, this is one of the more fun things that we get to do.
Join us afterwards in 303. We have plenty of cookies and plenty of pets available.
Thank you to all of the handlers for your dedication to this, because this has clearly been a bright spot in many people's days when they come into the county city building.
I would move that we approve the proclamation of Barney Day.
Second.
We have a motion and several seconds to proclaim August 15th, 2023 as Barney Day. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Absolutely.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And while we all have fun with this, it really isn't frivolous. Barney really does do a lot of good work here.
If you ever have a chance, I mean, I'm sure Carla too, him interacting with children, especially children that have been through things that we can't even imagine. He is a tremendous asset in that. So thank you to all of you for believing in this and supporting him. So.
Thank you for making it happen.
You know, at one point Sarah wanted a llama.
I wondered who would remind us
That's a
of
real
that.
conversation that was had.
I do have some experience with therapy llamas. But we can proceed with the agenda.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 6B is a special designated license application from Kramer Bar and Grill Incorporated for an event at Kramer Arena, 23701 Southwest 114th Street, Kramer, on September 9th, 2023.
Is there anyone here to speak to this? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah,
I will move approval.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this special designated liquor license application. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes, there are a number of notes here in the approval letters from the different departments, and I'm assuming that the,
Yeah, I was just going through, I don't see any objections.
right, nothing out of the ordinary, so I just, we are expecting the folks doing this event to recognize and comply with those. I vote yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6C is a licensure renewal application with the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services for the operation of the Lancaster County Mental Health Crisis Center. The licensure renewal fee is $250.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6D, an agreement with the Nebraska Association of County Officials, NACO, allowing Lancaster County to use NACO's bulk mail permit to mail postcards as required by Nebraska Revised Statute 77-1633.
Good morning. This
approval.
is I'm sorry.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, but please go ahead.
This is a renewal of the agreement last year where we mailed the pink postcards for the property tax increase. I'm not sure if they'll be pink this year, but this is just to allow us to use NACO's bulk mail permit number.
I think the color's literally in the statute.
I think it is.
Oh, is it?
I think
Yeah.
I think it has to be like a bright fuchsia card.
A very specific color, yeah.
Yeah.
Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6E, a purchase agreement with the City of Lincoln for the county to convey its 1/2 interest in property located at 1005 O Street to the city. City will subsequently sell the property to a third party for not less than $500,000 and pay the county 1/2 of the proceeds received from the sale, minus 1/2 of the closing cost incurred by the city, up to $7,500 in the course of the subsequent sale.
We have a motion?
I would move approval.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to 6F. Recommendation from the county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to R.L. Tiemann Construction for the supply and hauling of gravel, coarse materials in the amount of $491,550.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. As my office has done in the past, we list off our 8 locations where we receive gravel and then award per the lowest bid per location. And so this is the first of the gravel contracts that I am recommending this morning.
Move approval of F.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item F. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
$1,080.
Pam Dingman.
Move approval G.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 6G. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6H, amendment to grant contract C-22-0604 with Rabble Mill for the All Access Pass program.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the grant contract with Rebel Mill. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Abstain as my wife serves on the board.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Brings us to item 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak on on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone wishing to speak during public comment? We ask that you please sign in and state your name when you speak. You will have 5 minutes, and we do have the digital timer on a screen before you, so you can watch that time.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Juracek, Village Denton. I am here to let you all know we are not going to give any funding for any bridges in Lancaster County. Due to the last week complete disregard from the county engineer's office for our municipality, we're backing away. Because obviously the engineer's office doesn't care about our village and the safety of our residents. She can fund, you guys can fund your bridge on your own. If you want us to be back at the table, we, as the village board, want a written apology from the engineer's office. The last week's actions from the engineer's office is absolutely appalling. What we went through and our maintenance supervisor should not have happened. They closed a bridge. They wanted to reroute arterial traffic out of residential street. For the safety and security and the welfare of our residents, walking, bicycling, that's absolutely disgusting, and they refuse to make those changes. That's all we have. If you want us to be back to the table and talk about funding, a written apology must be sent. If not, we're out. Because there was no disregard for the village of Denton. We are an incorporated village. Any questions?
During public comment, unfortunately, we don't typically
That's fine.
respond, but we could respond and have a conversation at a different point.
If you wish to have that conversation, we want a written apology. That's it.
Ken Anderson, Omaha. I pulled up this article. It is from the New Jersey Globe. I'm assuming it's an honest article, not made up, not fake news. Monmouth recount, and Monmouth is the name of the county, recount after ES&S screw-up changes results of 2022 election. A court-ordered recount in Monmouth County after the nation's largest voting machine manufacturer, election system and software, ES&S, admitted to a programming error. No. I don't believe that's an error. It was intentional, in my opinion, and in plenty of other people's opinion. Error that caused some votes to be double counted. And I'll tell you whose votes those would be to be double counted. It's the liberal or the leftist. I pulled up a search result page here, and if you can read that, the judge ordered a hand-to-eye recount. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. The judge ordered a hand-to-eye recount for that particular situation. What's the gold standard for counting votes? Machines or hand-to-eye? Do we care about how fast they get counted if they're not counted accurately? Makes us really upset when they're not counted accurately. Honestly. This programming situation at ES&S always favors the liberal, the Democrat, the leftist, until they get busted like this. You really want to keep the machines when the gold standard is hand to eye? How can you do that? How can you keep the machines when the gold standard for counting elections is hand to eye? I changed the design a little bit of this, so I will reread it. Dear election officials, per state Supreme Court rulings, etc., an enforceable implied in fact contract arises between parties who signify agreement through an action, as in a voter surrendering a completed ballot according to instructions of election officials. Implied warranties and implied duties always accompany implied in fact contracts. This notice to you by me, the undersigned voter, reminds you of said contract and the accompanying implied warranties and duties that are binding by law upon you. By no means is this notice intended to educate you about centuries-strong precedent, so if said subject is unfamiliar to you, you seriously need to consult your legal counsel lest you risk being derelict in your due diligence. This notice reminds you that among a number of other responsibilities said contract binds you to, you are legally bound to implied warranty and implied duty. Merely one of many aspects of the warranty is that you most accurately and honestly count and report all legitimate ballot selections while preventing dilutions by counting illegitimate votes. Vote totals in many recent elections have been in excess of the expected numbers of votes allowed, and I will no longer tolerate such breach of implied contract if it continues. Along with this is the implied duty to consider the most verifiable cast ballot by me to be the one and only authoritative ballot cast by me. I will not tolerate that my in-person ballot surrendered to you when I presented irrefutable proof of my identity is destined for the category of provisional because an unknown person previously submitted a ballot in my name. This implied duty demands that you consider ballots surrendered to you in my name but without ID to be more provisional than my just-in-time ballots when I show valid ID. Another of many implied duties incumbent upon you is that you reveal relevant information to me, including the fact, if true, that my ballot selections are converted into unsupervisable electronic signals prior to them being counting. Okay, the rest of this is available at ESSSteelsR.vote webpage. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in public comment?
I'm Ross Blackledge. I'm the maintenance supervisor for the Village of Denton. So I'd like to express my concern. The project number was 21-60 N96. It's a Lancaster County project. There was no prior communication or coordination with the village from the Lancaster County Engineering Department. They had staked out in the village right away where they were going to place signs. I contacted them. I did finally get a copy of the traffic control plan. I expressed my concern with pushing arterial traffic from a marked restricted parking street that has sidewalks onto a residential street that is not marked, has parking on both sides and no sidewalks. When I asked for a revision of the plan, they did part of the signs I wanted, but not all of them, and I was trying to prevent through traffic from coming through and detouring up our residential street is all I was after. When I told them I didn't approve of the plan the way they had presented it, they told me that then it was my responsibility to put the signs up, and that was at 6:30 on Friday night for the project that started yesterday morning. So I guess I would like to ask in the future for a little more courtesy, consideration, and prior planning from their department if possible.
Good morning, Commissioners. It is just a beautiful day out there. My name is Penny Stevens, and I live here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, I have been coming here since November, December of last year, coming forth, bringing information about the concern for our elections. And the individuals that have come here these past few months have brought valuable information concerning our elections. This stuff isn't made up. And I just want to mention, it's not that we're emotional when we come up here, we're just very passionate. So I just wanted to point that out, that we're very passionate about our abilities to vote. And one of the things that I wanted to mention was back in 2020 when we were all scared to death because we thought we were going to die from the pandemic, we were also receiving mail-in ballots. And my household received mail-in ballots. We did not request. We have never voted by mail. And we received mail-in ballots. Now, my understanding that the Nebraska law says that the county clerk can just automatically send mail-in ballots if the population is less than 10,000 people. Well, Lancaster County is more than that. So it's very concerning. We receive these mail-in ballots not only like once in our mailbox, but twice. And so that's very concerning. They know who they mail these out to. They know who sends them back. That's just real concerning. So 62% of American voters believe that the 2020 election was stolen. This is a Rasmussen report from May. Now, I want to state that since that report has come out, we've had Washington, D.C. coming out with all kinds of information about the Hunter Biden laptop that has all this information. That stuff was hidden from us right before election, and that's election interference as well. So it's very concerning. I know you guys are getting ready to sign the budget. And the fact that it's 103 pages last year, that's a lot of work that you need to do. So, thank you for doing that. We have come here asking, for you to just hold off and let's have a meeting so we can discuss this. And this has been our response that we get. And I do want to go back to when we got the ballots. I called Shively, election commissioner back then, and I told him about the concerns that we had. I called him after the election. He told me to call the Secretary of State's office. Then they told me to call the election commissioner, then call the county clerk's office, and it was just this hamster wheel. They never would talk to me. And supposedly our vote is supposed to put these people into work for us. And the fact that we're just being completely shut down, and more and more Americans are figuring this out, that this big machine, that whatever is happening, it is not good. It is not good. I just appreciate the work that you do. I wish you would actually listen to the people, and that you would actually speak to the people, and that you would actually see what's happening. Thank you, and have a good day.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during open comment today? Seeing none, we may proceed.
Announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a legislative retreat on Thursday, August 17th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. in room 113 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next staff meeting on Thursday, August 24th, 2023 in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Last item I have is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Laude,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
We will now open the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Item 1A.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for August 1st. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Abstain.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Item 1B, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the August 8th minutes. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2, the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is a notice of taxable status for the Malcolm Rural Fire Protection District.
Morning.
Morning.
Corey B., the County Assessor Register Deeds Office. So the Malcolm Rural Fire District just recently purchased some ag land that they are hoping to use for future development. It's currently being farmed, and they have indicated to us that it's likely going to take a few years before they get their plans in place. So this notice is just to let them know that that property will be coming, or will remain on the tax roll for 2023. So, yeah,
Would move approval of them receiving the notice.
and they're aware it's coming.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4, series of public hearings. Item 4A, the 2023-451 exemption applications.
We will now open the public hearings.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
Corey Beatty, County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. So today we have 451 exemption applications for your consideration. They've all been vetted by our staff. We've reviewed the application and the usage of the property, and we're recommending approval of all 4 applications with a couple caveats. The applications, the properties for the American Legion and the Help Foundation were acquired after January 1, so that's a pretty standard application. The Nebraska Wildlife Rehab Incorporated and All Nations Church, those properties were under their ownership for the last few years. This is a new application. They missed the December 31st filing deadline for a new application. So they applied recently and would be assessed a 10% statutory, it's a statutory penalty of 10% of the taxable amount, or $100 a month, whichever is lesser of the fee. So we're approving all 4 exemptions with the caveat that the Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, Inc. and All Nations Church would be assessed the statutory penalty due to the not timely filings.
And once again, Corey, these, and you said it, but I'm reaffirming that the late fees for missing the December 31st deadline, they're clearly laid out in statutes as to what the expectations are.
Yeah, and because they were the owners of the property last year, they're considered a new filing for 2023, and they would have had to have their application in by December 31st. Difference with the American Legion and the Help Foundation is they acquired the property after January 1st of this year, so they're filing for 2023 on newly acquired property.
When we take action on this, we'll just need to include the approval with the late fees for the 2 applicants who missed the deadline.
Correct. Thank you.
Sound like a motion to me.
Would you like to make that motion?
That's-
Oh, we'll do that afterwards. You're
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. So the next item on the public hearing then.
Pratt.
Is there anyone else to speak on this, on item A? Seeing none, we can proceed.
Next public hearing is the notices of proposed change in exemption status. We have a series, the American Legion, the Nebraska State Historical Society Foundation, Nebraska Wesleyan University, Region 5 Foundation, United Pentecostal Church, and St. Monica's Home. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Corey Beatty, County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. So these properties were all ones that had an exemption but recently sold, so they've transferred ownership. So we're notifying the past and current owners of the removal of the exemption based on that property transfer, and then if the new owners feel that they are eligible and or qualify for that exemption, they could apply. So this is just to notify both owners that the previous exemption on the property is being removed due to the transfer of ownership.
Any questions or, no? Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this issue? Seeing none, we can proceed.
Our third public hearing is the motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Bryan Medical Center and Christ Lutheran Church.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications? Seeing none, we can close the public hearing.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 5, action on the following. 5A is the 2023 451 exemption applications.
Move approval.
With the caveat?
Yes. Wait, what caveat? What are you talking about?
Two of the entities
Had late
missed-
filings,
Oh.
and so they have a state
I guess
statutory
I thought that's how it
penalty.
was presented in the agenda.
We need to state that in the
Okay.
motion.
Yep. I'll move approval of 4A with the 2 exemptions. Exemptions, is that the right word? No.
The late.
The 2
The assessed
fees.
statutory penalty.
There you go.
For a
That's-
late filing. How about that?
Can you catch that, Mr. Clerk, for me? Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 5B, action on notices of proposed change in exemption status.
Move approval 5B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposed change in exemption status. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5C, action on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval 5C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to public comment. Those wishing to speak on items related to the County Board of Equalization business, not on the agenda, may do so at this time.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak on public comment?
Hi, I'm Joan Casey again. This time I'm here for myself. I wanted to report to you how my protest went at the building. I showed them, first of all, Tom Kubert wrote an article of which I was quoted in many times. Tom Kubert said, "Some houses won't fit the model. That's my house." He also said, "More recent sales could be useful to people considering an appeal." So I used those two components for my appeal, for my protest. I showed 25 houses in my neighborhood that were from 78% of market value to about 85% of market value. My house is over 100% of market value, assessed at. I reported to the person and said, I determined market value based on what the assessor told me was the date of valuation, which is 7/1 of 2022. So I looked at Zillow and Zillow and Redfin, and I said, this is what market is that they told me to use, the assessor's office. And I said, so I'm over at 100%. And she said, you can't use Zillow and Market and Zillow and Redfin. Well, then what are we supposed to use as a homeowner? Because we certainly don't have appraisal software to run, and nor do anybody really have the knowledge to do that. So she refuted that, said, no, I'm not going to allow that to be used. All right. So then I went off the other thing that he said. Recent sales should be used in the appeal. I did that. I brought up two houses where both houses were assessed at 83%, and they sold for significantly more than the assessed value. One house sold for 23% above the assessed value, and the other house sold for 18% of the assessed value. Both houses are recent sales. I showed him that. And then she said to me, well, we can't use recent sales because sometimes it takes a year or two for the recent sale to actually get included in the assessed value. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking if this house is assessed at 80% of market value, why isn't my house assessed at that? I gave her 25 houses and said, these are all in my neighborhood. Look at them because I want to be assessed at the same. These are like my houses. I want to be assessed at the same. So the problem is Kubert also said, don't look at the model. You can't look at the model and you can't argue the model. But I'm going to argue the model because, and I've showed you how the model was wrong in the first place. This is what started the baloney. So if you look at the model, for my house has an unusually large garage. That's what my ex-husband wanted. Okay, fine. But it has a very, very tiny basement. Well, basements, according to the model, are assessed at $27 a square foot. When I say basement, it's a finished basement. Totally finished. Carpeting, can lights, you got it all. But the garages are assessed at $49 a square foot. Wait a minute, you're talking a garage with just a cement and you know, little lights that screw in? They're gonna be assessed at $49 a square foot, while finished basements at $27 a square foot? I've shown you this. That's the problem. So I have to ask you, have you asked the assessor, when of the 5,000 protests for Lancaster County, how many got zero change? I was one of them. My son was one of them. If I have time, I'll talk about his house. Doesn't look like it. His was far worse than mine. So I'm going to tell you what the solution is. The solution is that you put somebody in the middle between the assessor's office and the Board of Equalization that reports to you, that can run any reports, that can stop the nonsense that was reported this year, that $250,000 houses are going to be overassessed and $1 million houses get the break. If you would have known about that ahead of time, would you have not made a change? Would have you had not questioned the assessor's office and said, hey,
Thank you.
what a joke.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak during public comment? I see no one else wishing to speak.
Move we adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yep.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.